And here he is. Here's the man.
All right.
Jack Schlossberg is coming into our studio right now. The first question I have for him is, where did you go to high school?
Collegiate school.
Collegiate.
The best one.
Collegiate.
My son went to Loyola.
Oh, nice. Fantastic.
I was going to guess Trinity, but you said collegiate. Okay.
Yeah, and I remember where you lived because you used to shop at Gristedes.
I still do. I live above a Gristedes.
Yeah.
Best store in the city.
My God. And your opponent at the debate last week said he shopped at A&P. There hasn't been an A&P in 2-3 years or 5 years. I mean, what kind of opponent do you have?
I know. He literally said, Alex Bora said he shops at a A&P on 96. There isn't one.
Yeah, it hasn't been one there in 20 years or 10 years.
Well, he should check the expiration date on his milk if he did.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack, you're in a big primary on Tuesday. Tell us a little bit about, is it just in your genes that you have to go into politics?
Introduce him first,
yes,
in case somebody's out there doesn't know.
This is Jack Schlossberg. He is running for Congress. And tell us which district it is and what part geographically of the city.
District 12, New York 12, which runs from 96th Street to 14th Street, all avenues east and west of Manhattan.
Wow. Okay. So that's a big, that's a lot of different, that's like 6 different worlds. I mean,
God,
for those of you who are listening, not from New York City and not from Manhattan, that might sound, it's 82 blocks of the same city. But I mean, that's like 35 different nationalities represented in
every
that
kind
area.
of person and the best kind of people in the whole world. You know, this district it is home to the United Nations, to the Empire State Building, Central Park. The whole world starts counting time every year from New York 12 in Times Square. And so we really need leadership that can punch above its weight and get things done in Congress because Democratic Party needs a lot of help.
Tell us about, have you studied about all the things that your grandfather was stood for and everything?
Yeah, I have. And it all started, my studies of him started when a teacher in high school asked me a question on JFK's diplomatic policy in Laos. And I didn't know the answer. And I went home and started reading, a bunch of books about him and watching his speeches. But I've studied him very closely and worked closely on the Kennedy Library. And, his legacy is something that he's remembered as an icon now, but people forget he sent a man to the moon, drafted the Civil Rights Act, stared down Khrushchev and did not blink. He was a war hero and the youngest person ever elected president and the first Catholic.
Wow.
Jack Schlossberg joining us right now. Of course, his most famous quote is, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." And I'm sympathetic as I ask this question to you because, especially when you run for Congress, it's kind of hard to follow that paradigm, right? I mean, today's politicians, even for much higher office, it seems like it's handout city. And how do you run for an office at a local level, even though it's for Congress, and not ignore what your grandfather said? I mean, how do you do it? Because it's all about, when am I going to get this? When am I going to get my free that? This is something that I think plagues anyone running for office.
Totally. People forget JFK was the ultimate outsider when he started and when he ran for president. And people might laugh hearing this coming from me because I'm, his grandson. But I'm the outsider in this race too. And the institutions here in New York 12 and New York City, they don't want to change. They have no new answers. They just tell people what they want to hear. I'm running against someone, Michael Asher, whose final closing argument to everybody was, I've got a plan so that everyone is guaranteed a job and a house. No one asked any follow-up questions. I think we got to start running our government more efficiently, more effectively, and come together because there's no reason we need to be so divided. It wasn't always this way. A huge reason, money in politics. This is something that I've been known for in the campaign. They call me No PAC Jack. I don't have a super PAC. And this race has been flooded with $30 million of outside spending, which as a New Yorker offends me. And as an American and a Democrat, I think we can do better than this.
$30 million just for one congressional race?
Can you believe that? I guess a lot of people want to buy real estate.
How many candidates are running in this district?
Only about 150,000. It's a split field. There's, I would say, 3 or 4 main contenders. Myself, Alex Borez, Michael Asher, and George Conway.
Well, I'm not a registered Democrat, but if I was a registered Democrat, I'd probably vote for you.
Oh, thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Jack Schlossberg, getting back to your grandfather here a little bit, and I don't want to make it all about that, but that's a segue to talk about something that's happening today. So I do want to talk about today. We've been talking for these last 4 hours about a radical socialist takeover of the Democratic Party. And if they were just being socialists all the time and focusing on the economic aspect of it, to me, that would be more understandable. But it seems like they call themselves socialists, but they're really, all I ever hear from them is anti-Israel rhetoric, anti-Semitic rhetoric. Since when did those two things become so easily conflated? This is outrageous to me. We have someone in in the 13th district election, Darlisa Chevalier, who was at the pro-Hamas rally cheering the October 7th attacks on October 8th in 2023. That's another thing. You say you're fighting against the moneyed interest, but this is another major problem. I mean, this is something that would have horrified your grandfather. This is a cancer that needs to be cut out of the Democratic Party.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm very worried, about the upcoming fracturing of the Democratic Party, being dragged into the mud by what I consider to be, there are a lot of people who hear certain things from these candidates, socialist candidates, that they agree with, that we probably all agree with, that sound great. And then there are the other talking points that they lean into to pander to an audience that, you're right, is defined by their stance against Israel. Not what they're for, but against the state of Israel's existence in general. And I'm someone, I'm right in the sweet spot on the U.S.-Israel question in this race. I've made everybody mad at me. I'm very proud of that. I think we need to talk with nuance about this stuff and not lean into tropes. And the Democratic Party, a lot of this stuff seems like it's organic, crowdsourced. And I've seen in this campaign myself that a lot of this stuff is driven by rhetoric online. And a lot of that rhetoric online is actually paid for in terms of paid for social media content creation and bots. If you look at any post that I've made in the last 2 months, most of it is filled with anti-Israel and a lot of anti-Semitic comments from what are clearly fake accounts paid for by one of the opponents. So look, I think this is a serious question. I don't want to cede the issue of the U.S.-Israel's relationship to the right either. And because we should be able to come together on this, used to be bipartisan. Doesn't mean we can't criticize Israel's government, but we got to get serious here because there's a lot of challenges facing our world, and we live in an increasingly hostile world with more and more conflict happening every day. We got to have a real strategy here, and the Democratic Party should not lose its credibility by embracing hate.
Well, I have an easier way out for you. Simply say that this is a conflict that doesn't really hit your daily life here on 92nd down to 14th Street as much. I mean, the idea that this has become the number one topic in a number of these elections is ludicrous. So let me get back to that. Let's get to 92nd down all the way down to 96 all the way down to 14th Street and talk about, listen, a lot of people ask people who are running for office, what's the first thing you're going to do? And what do you think the most important thing is? I'm going to ask a nuanced type of question. What's the first thing that you think you can do, that you think you actually can do,
yes,
that will make an impact? That's a better question.
Deduct your rent from your taxes. I'm the only candidate who's ever put forward this proposal. I think renters should be treated the same as those who borrow against their homes, who can deduct their mortgage interest payment. We talk about housing nonstop in New York City. We talk about building new housing. Great.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?